Hi, everyone, and welcome to Leading Remote Employees. This very short, sharp 30-minute webinar just to give you a few little insights and tidbits to support your leading of remote employees. I'll go through a little bit of the agenda now and talk a little bit about who I am and why I feel necessary to deliver this type of presentation. So my name is Jamie. I have a little consultancy called Little Red Tuna, and I have been a remote worker since the pandemic. I think one of the things that the pandemic did was it really forced us to start thinking about where we work and how we work and how different that is to the office. We have a few little things to talk through today, and they are some key principles of effective remote leadership. There's a very strong link here to pre-boarding and onboarding. I am an employee experience specialist or consultant and have been working in this field for about 15 years. So I really concentrate on the employee journey. I do a lot of work with onboarding and a lot of work with learning and development of leaders and a lot of learning and development of different employee journey aspects, such as recruitment. So giving good feedback, how to give good rejection feedback, things like that. So in this webinar, there will be some link to pre-boarding and onboarding. That's just natural. Then we're going to look at some ongoing support. We're also going to look at some feedback elements as well. And then at the end, we'll have a look at a remote leadership action plan, something that you can tangibly take away and do today. Okay. So we'll go through. Look, I just want to introduce some of the key principles of effective remote leadership. So these are some points that you really need to think about when you are working with remote employees. But to be honest, there's no reason why you can't apply these same principles to on-site. It just when working with remote, you need a little bit more thinking, a little bit more planning, and a little bit more preparation, okay? Because it is going to be virtual. Clear communication, transparency, communicating open goals, expectations, challenges. You have to really lay it all on the table. Okay, so there's no sort of those interactions that you would have in the office randomly at different times, where you would approach some of these things and over time develop these strong communication elements. You've got to be really sort of upfront about it with remote workers, and remember to actively listen as well. Okay. A trust and accountability. Nothing in life works without trust. So that is a number one point. But especially when we have remote workers, set clear expectations, define the roles, responsibilities, performance metrics. Okay, so really lay these out on the line for the remote workers. Really give them those insights. Collaboration and team engagement. So you're going to need to promote this a lot more. It's not going to happen organically. So you really need to come up with some strategies on how you can promote this, promote collaboration and team engagement. So virtual team building, celebrations of success, creating projects that require collaboration is also not only a great way to learn, but also a great way to get to know your colleagues. Flexibility and adaptability. Being a remote worker, one of the advantages of that is the flexibility. You, as a remote worker, they can choose when and how they work. So they often make it work around their schedule. So it's just really being aware that the typical Monday to Friday, 9 to 5 may not suit a remote worker, and that's not why they are a remote worker. So it's just understanding that. So a bit of flexibility and adaptability on your side, but also understanding that they have flexibility and adaptations as well. Time zones is always a a tricky one when you're working across time zones. Sometimes, for example, between Australia and Europe, sometimes there's a 10-hour time gap. So there's a little bit of flexibility, a little bit of understanding about when to have a meeting and is a meeting really necessary. So think about those. Results and outcomes should really be the focus here as well. Emphasize the results over activity. It doesn't matter how many hours they spend in front of a computer. If they are delivering what you're setting, then happy days. Make sure you're providing constant feedback on what's working, what's not working, and encourage that continuous improvement towards your team goals, your company goals, and also don't forget personal goals. Well-being and work-life balance, they're a tricky one. I once had a manager say to me that there's no such thing as a work-life balance. There's only work and life, and you choose how you integrate these. It's very, very similar for a remote worker. I think one of the things just to highlight here is that being a remote worker, you can choose when you want to work, when you need to work. Okay, so those are, and that comes into that flexibility aspect as well. But sometimes it's a very gray line, especially if your remote worker they're working from home. Okay, sometimes the lines can be a little bit grayed, a little bit blurred. So it's important to establish again your expectations as a leader, the team expectations, the company expectations, and promote a work-life balance for them. So just making sure that you're also aware and keeping tabs on how they're going. Of course, respecting boundaries, and if there's any sort of support in wellness that you can offer, whether it's online or whether it's supporting an afternoon off or something like that, then so be it. Technology is a really important one. Without technology, the remote collaboration, the remote working won't work. A lot of organizations now are very heavily using the Microsoft 365 products, which are fantastic for collaboration. A Word document you can write comments in and share those. You can tag. So they're working quite well. Smaller organizations tend to use some other types of technology, such as Slack and Zoom. They also have incredible collaboration tools inside as well. So if you are moving in that space, technology is a must, but also having the right technology. One of the things I would recommend, though, is remote workers tend to have their technologies that they like to use. And of course, they need to align with the organization, but I think also being mindful of what other technologies could work. And a last point here is lead with compassion and empathy. So, I mean, again, also really important for on-site or in office, but particularly important for remote workers. So you need to build those relationships. You need to build those personal connections, foster the supporting team environment. But again, they don't happen organically like they do in the office. So you have to be a little bit more planned, a little bit more prepared, and a little bit more sort of forthright in scheduling those in. The whole thing about remote leadership is that a lot of the strategies can be moved from on-site to remote. Okay, so remember that. What I want you to take away is that for remote, it comes with a lot more preparation and a lot more planning, a little bit more formality. You can still have those water cooler moments and those social interactions. You just have to formally plan them, if this makes sense. So, for example, normally we would have, you would schedule one-on-one meetings. That's great, one-on-one meetings. But I want you to have two types of one-on-one meetings. I want you to have a work-related one, talking about expectations, roles, what help can I give you? But then also make sure there is a social one in there, one that you can just have a coffee and you can ask them questions. You can learn about them, okay? Learn about their life, learn about their situation. So you can still have those water cooler moments. They're a little bit more organic in the office, but when you have them online, a little bit more formalized, but just make sure that you're separating the social and the work aspect. So our remote engagement, we need to prioritize seamless pre-boarding and onboarding experiences in remote. There is a nurturing of social connections among team members. You're going to have to promote this a lot more. Provide ongoing support, okay, that's in their role, but also in their well-being. And then feedback. Not only giving feedback, but requesting feedback, okay? How can you improve the remote environment? How can the team improve? How can the organization improve the remote working situation, okay? We don't want our remote workers to feel isolated. We want them to feel part of the team, but we are, as leaders, we need to reach out more. We need to engage them more. Here's a little activity I want you to do. Just write down these questions, and if you're watching this as a recording, pause this video. If you are online right now, just write them down. And these are just some things that you can jot. You can jot these down. So what are some of your unique challenges when working with remote colleagues? Number one. And then what could be potential solutions? And this is an activity you can do with your team as well, okay? So hold that thought. See if the rest of this webinar answers those questions or comes up with the same solutions as you. And then, look, I would love to hear from you. If this webinar didn't address your challenges, if it didn't address your solutions, or if you come up with different ones to what's in this webinar, that would be fantastic to hear. So my details are at the end for contacting. Pre-boarding and onboarding. Okay, so when you hire a new person and they're a remote person, you're going to have to do a little bit more legwork. That's just how it is. Pre-boarding and onboarding for a new hire. So pre-boarding is when the contract is signed and is before their first day. Okay, can't see my fingers. Onboarding is their first 90 days, from day 1 to day 90. And here are some little things that you need to consider throughout both pre-boarding and onboarding. So engage early and more frequent. So as soon as a contract's signed, bang, give them a call. Have a video call. So awesome that you're going to join us. So great that you're going to do this. Let's make sure this is the best experience we can possibly come up with together. Okay. You're going to also have to engage them more frequently. 30 minutes. My suggestion, 30 minutes once a week for formal. Okay. You'll need to have an initial team meeting during the pre-boarding phase before they start, so they get to meet the team. If they don't meet the team in the hire phase during the recruitment, then make sure that's done in pre-boarding. Don't have them coming in cold day 1. Okay. But also, this is a bit of a fine line. You also need to be respectful of them finishing up their job, finishing up their current role. Okay. Team meet and greet. Again, first day, also in pre-boarding. So initial team meeting is probably more about the work and the role aspect. The team meet and greet is really just a social get together. Who are you? What is this? Oh, here's what my office looks like, that sort of thing on the video call. Provide a detailed briefing of their role, your expectations. Be really clear about this in the beginning and invite questions. Talk about this early, talk about it frequently, address it all the time. Make sure they really get what it is that what your expectations are. During the onboarding, ask them to write some reflection. Every couple of weeks, write down their reflections. How was the past couple of weeks? What worked, what didn't work? Facilitate some introductions with other key stakeholders in the organization. Facilitate, people are grown-ups, you can just provide them with names and say, here, go and contact these people. More check-ins, so these need to be frequent. You in the office, you pass by people all the time at the coffee machine, at the elevator, going to lunch. You're going to need a few more check-ins with your remote workers. And you also need to think about formal check-ins and informal check-ins. You need to be really clear in the agenda of these meetings what the purpose is. because often we always just talk work, 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 work. That's not the point. The point is you have a formal and a social catch-up. Sometimes they can be intertwined, but it's really important to make sure there is a focus on the social aspect. Virtual coffees, great way of getting people to meet and greet. It's a great conversation starter as well when you talk about, oh, where's your coffee from? Oh, what sort of beans do you use? If they don't drink coffee, tea. If they don't drink tea, what else do they have? Water. Oh, what's the purity of your water? Things like that. Developing a get to know your questions. So get the team to develop some get to know your questions. Get to know you questions. Sorry. Get these questions developed and send them out to the team. Send them out to your remote worker, and then get to know each other. Okay, I've got a list of 10 questions you can ask your colleagues to get to know them. You can also Google it or use one of the chat AI programs. Virtual social activities, really important as well. Okay, team social activities, maybe some team building that you might like to do. There are plenty of examples out there that you can use to integrate into your schedule. Establishing a Teams group chat. Look, this is really important. This is outside of email. Okay, so email is very formal. It's very lengthy. Chats are just quick, short, sharp. How you doing? I'll look at the weather from my window. Like, make it a social, but also make it an everything chat. Sometimes what I do is when I'm in a group chat, a virtual team, I will pop something that I've been working on. Like if I wanted something I've been working on for the last couple of days, if I wanted some feedback, I would pop that in there and say, hey guys, have a look at this. This is what I've been sort of working on. Give me your feedback. Or I would take a photo of me sitting on the beach reading my emails. Also quite lovely. And then the other cool thing here is we are, by nature, we are social creatures. Humans are social creatures. They love the social interaction. We do love in person. We can't be in an isolated room. There's a reason why solitary confinement is not a nice thing to do. So the second you find out about an in-person event, invite them straight away. And they will be hanging on that. If you can do that in the pre-boarding before they even join, wow, that's really powerful. But if you can do it at any time in the first couple of months, even if it's we're going to bring you into HQ, you're going to meet the team physically, you're going to spend a week here, we're going to take you out for dinner. Like if that is an option, then do it. Then when we look at the ongoing support, so this is the ongoing support after the onboarding. There is some stuff here that could be integrated into the onboarding as well, but it's really important. And what I wanted to do here is highlight that, yes, pre-boarding and onboarding is all about meeting, understanding, learning about the role, the team, the organization, etc., learning about your job. But then there's an element after onboarding. It doesn't stop. We do need to have some sort of ongoing support, the continuing support, that continuing learning and development arc. So constantly team building. If you've got someone working remote, plan a team building once a month, once every 2 months, once a quarter. Like, make sure you're planning something regular. It doesn't have to be massive, huge, but it can be quite a powerful experience if you do it on a regular basis. Q&A sessions, really awesome. I joined a company where we had once a quarter, we would come together and we would just throw all our questions and answers out, because sometimes in meetings you're sort of bang, 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 trying to get through everything. But with a Q&A session, you just ask the questions. You submit your questions earlier, people can pre-read them, prepare them, but a great way to provide ongoing support. And they don't have to be work-related. They can also be social-related. Remember that. Collaboration, really important to continue that collaboration journey of the teams, making sure that they are working together, make sure that they're learning together, etc., etc. Team meetings, a must. You have to have integration of team meetings into your schedule. There's nothing wrong with having a weekly team meeting for an hour. Nothing wrong with that. Very traditional, nothing wrong with it. Home office tours is really cool as well, not only for remote workers, but also when colleagues are working from home. That's really cool. Just taking the smartphone around and showing different aspects of your home, what it looks like outside, and it all provides context. Okay, so that the employee, that the internal team doesn't just think about this person on a screen. They've actually got context to where they are. Hosting digital get-togethers like virtual happy hours, virtual Friday bars, online escape rooms, Cluedo, anything, any sort of get-together, you can sort of mix all those in under sort of the one banner. And then don't forget about team learning sessions. I had a company that created a concept called Wisdom Wednesdays. And for an hour every Wednesday at 10 o'clock, they would tools down, they would get together, and someone would present something. Okay. And then creating that as an engagement session really brings those people online into the fold as well. Feedback, really important throughout the entire process. What do you like about the remote experience? What are some of the challenges that you have? What's the best way that you find staying socially connected to the team? And then, of course, what improvements can we make to ensure this experience is incredible for the next person? So constantly learning, constantly changing, and growing that remote working experience, really important. Now, I did say that at the end of the webinar that we would have an action plan template to have a look at. I just want to walk you through that as well so that you can use this as a tool to take away and improve your remote working experience, or your remote leadership experience, I should say. We have a 7-step action plan, or a 7-step framework. Okay, step 1 is assess the current state. Okay, what's working, what's not working? What are the challenges that we've got? Then step 2 is defining the objectives. Step 3, strategies and actions. Step 4, implementation timeline. My recommendation here is, if you've got an action plan, 2 weeks is your deadline. 1 week is a bit hectic. 2 weeks is the sweet spot. Anything after 2 weeks, it starts to get dragged out, forgotten about. So you focus, what can you do within 2 weeks? That's your goal. So also constricts you, doesn't make you think, oh, we need a 12-month project. No, 2 weeks. Create some metrics and evaluation. Communicate the plan, assign the responsibilities, and ensure feedback. Like, get that feedback. That's really important. And review and adapt. Okay, constantly change this going forward. If you feel like you've tackled one challenge, start the process again. Do another challenge. I'm going to show you an example. 2 examples. So here, example 1 is our objective: improve remote team communication. The strategies were to conduct weekly video meetings for project updates using Slack for daily quick check-ins and informal communication. And then our actions were schedule video calls with each team member bi-weekly for feedback and coaching, and then provide training on effective remote communication. Okay, so that was one challenge around team communication. Another challenge here about team engagement and motivation: organize monthly virtual team building activities was the strategy. Implement a recognition program for outstanding remote contributions. That's a pretty cool one. And then in terms of the actions, send out weekly team updates highlighting achievements and milestones, recognition, communication, and then seek input from team members on new engagement initiatives, feedback. And then you're also bringing in that accountability, because if they come up with it, chances are they're going to implement it. Okay. Look, this is the end of what I had. It was very short, sharp, a lot of information in there for you to digest. I want you to take that away and think about it. I want you to think about integrating some of these ideas into your onboarding. I want you to think about some of these ideas in everyday work life as well. Have a look at the action plan, do your challenges, come up with some strategies, and then look, if all else fails and you know you're struggling to come up with ideas or you want some more inspiration, give me an email. Let's have a little chat, and I will more than happy share ideas and different workshops and different insights into remote leadership. More than happy to share that with you. It's such a passionate area of mine, and I really want the remote working culture in all organizations to be really strong. So more than welcome to reach out. You can also find me on LinkedIn as well. And look, let's connect and share. You might have some stuff there. I'm sure you have some stuff there that I will also find very interesting, and I would love to hear that as well. But thanks for spending these 30 minutes with me. Good luck, go forth, and like I said, reach out if there's anything I can help with. Thanks very much. Bye.